In the small, forgotten town of Eldoria, nestled between the rugged mountain escarpments and the whispering forest that seemed to breathe ancient secrets, there lived a man named Elias. His world was a tapestry of muted colors woven with threads of solitude and unspoken prayers. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, casting long shadows that crawled up the cobblestone streets, Elias stood outside the weathered gates of the ancient chapel, its bell tower, a silent sentinel that had witnessed centuries of whispered confessions and fervent hopes. Elias turned his weathered face toward the heavens, the evening sky a canvas of twilight hues deepening into the indigo embrace of night. His eyes, sunken, yet filled with a fire that few could see, seemed to absorb the secrets hidden in the starlit void. The chapel, a relic of a bygone era, bore the marks of time, its stone walls weathered, and its wooden crucifixes worn with the passage of countless prayers and laments. To Elias, this place was a sanctuary, a refuge where the burdens of the world could be laid down upon the altar of divine grace. Inside the chapel, the air was heavy with the scent of aged wood and the faint, lingering echo of incense. It felt as though the very walls had absorbed centuries of human longing and divine mercy. Candles flickered in their sconces, casting a soft, tremulous glow upon the stone floor, which seemed to pulse with an ancient, almost living rhythm. The silence inside was not empty, but replete with whispers, the sighs of those who had stood there before him, seeking solace or divine intervention. Elias knelt before the altar, his knuckles white against the cold stone. He placed his hands over his heart, feeling the steady, if slow, pulse as if it were a metronome marking time's relentless march. His breaths came in deep, deliberate rhythms, each exhalation a release of the mundane, each inhalation a breath of sacred potential waiting to be unveiled. He had long known that he was different, marked by a distant echo that seemed to come from beyond the earthly realm, a call that had led him to this sacred space time and again. Within the chapel's womb of silence, the air seemed to thicken, charged with an energy that made the hairs on his arms rise. Elias closed his eyes, his mind a blank canvas, ready to be painted with divine revelation. The world outside ceased to exist. The town, the mountain, the forest, all faded into the background, leaving only the divine presence that filled the chamber with an invisible yet palpable warmth. In this moment, a profound stillness, a voice echoed in the recesses of his mind, clear and resonant as a bell chime. Elias stopped trying to fit in. You are not alone in your journey. The words lingered, reverberating within him, resonating with an ancient truth that seemed to have been waiting for this precise moment to reveal itself. It was neither a whisper nor a shout, but a profound, soothing truth that seeped into the very core of his soul. Elias felt a wave of emotion wash over him, tears welling up and trickling down his cheeks. He had spent years trying to blend into the monochrome world around him, hiding his true self under layers of conformity and societal expectations. He had been the shadow to others' light, the forgotten note in the symphony of their lives. But now, this voice, so gentle, yet so firm, spoke to his very essence, proclaiming his uniqueness, his divine purpose. In that sacred space, as the candles whispered their silent prayers to the heavens, Elias understood that God's revelation was a shattering of the illusion that he had no place. It was a profound affirmation that he was chosen not by the world's eyes, but by the eyes of the divine. He was to be himself, all of him, with his scars, his dreams, his unfitting heart. The revelation was a divine love letter, assuring that in this vast, often indifferent universe, he was cherished unique and irreplaceable. Elias rose to his feet. His spirit transformed, a new light igniting within him. He walked towards the chapel's exit, the ancient wooden door groaning open as if it too had been waiting for this moment. As the last slivers of sunlight surrendered to the cloak of night, Elias stepped into the streets of Eldoria, not as a man seeking acceptance, but as a chosen one, bearing the truth of his divine call, a truth that would shape not only his destiny, but the very fabric of his existence. In that moment, the world outside seemed to shimmer with new meaning. The shadows no longer held captivity, but offered the promise of sacred revelation. The whispers of the ancient chapel had sown the seeds of transformation, preparing Elias to embark on a journey that would transcend the mundane, reaching into the very heart of divine grace. His path was no longer one of fitting in, but of standing out of being uniquely himself. In a world that often demanded conformity, guided by a revelation that could only come from the Almighty. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting elongated shadows across the ancient stone paths of the monastery. Inside, candles flickered like stars. In the twilight of the Lord's sacred hall, their warm light revealing the worn yet reverent features of a young man named Elias. His eyes, deep and reflective, held the weight of a soul grappling with a secret only God could unveil. He was the chosen one whose destiny intertwined with divine purpose, but whose heart longed for the belonging he never seemed to find among his fellow disciples. The whispers of the winds through the Gothic arches of the monastery seemed to echo his silent cries for acceptance, for understanding. Yet, it was in the solitude that God's revelation began to take shape. The air within the revered hall was thick with the scent of old parchment and incense, a blend that spoke of countless generations who had sought enlightenment within these sacred walls. Yet it was here, in the stillness of devotion, that the path ahead for Elias grew clear. He knelt before the altar, his hands clasped in prayer, his spirit yearning for the truth that had been hidden from him for so long. "Father," Elias remembered his voice, a breath upon the sacred air, "show me the path I am destined to walk. Reveal to me the mission that calls my very soul." The silence that followed was not an absence of answer, but a pregnant pause of divine revelation. For within him, a stirring began a whisper that grew into a roar. It was not the voice of man, but the eternal echo of God's presence resonating with an intensity that shook Elias to his core. The air around him shimmered, as though the fabric of the universe itself were parting, revealing the tapestry of the divine. Elias felt a presence unlike anything he had ever experienced, a warmth that seemed to wrap around his spirit, tender and unyielding all at once. It was as if the very essence of God's love was laid bare before him, a truth that transcended the boundaries of human understanding. "Elias," the voice boomed, with a gentleness that held the power of creation, "you are not alone. Your soul holds a mission that is greater than the confines of this world." In that moment, Elias understood. It was not the fleeting acceptance of his brethren that defined him, but the eternal calling that had marked him from the beginning of time. The revelation washed over him like a cleansing tide, tearing away the barriers of loneliness and self-doubt that had shackled his heart for so long. "You are the bridge between the celestial and the earthly realms," God continued, "a beacon of truth and a vessel of divine love. Your mission is to illuminate the path for those who wander in the darkness, to guide them towards the light that only you can reveal." Tears streamed down Elias's face as he absorbed the enormity of his purpose. He had long felt like an outsider, but now he realized that his very isolation was the crucible in which his mission was forged. It was through his solitude that God had honed his spirit, sharpening his ability to connect with the divine and to extend that connection to others. "Do not fear the loneliness," the divine voice implored, "for it is not a curse, but a sacred space where your true self can emerge. You are not meant to fit into the mold of those around you, for you possess a unique role in the grand tapestry of existence. Carry this revelation with you. Let it be your beacon, your strength." Elias rose from his knees, his heart aglow with the fire of divine purpose. The weight of his mission was no longer a burden, but a testament to his true identity. He was not a mere wanderer, but a chosen instrument through which the divine would pour its love and light upon the world. In the days that followed, Elias embarked on his mission with a fervor that burned brighter than any candle in the monastery. He traveled far and wide, from the bustling markets to the quiet temples, from the high mountains to the deepest valleys, sharing the revelation he had received. He spoke of a truth that transcended creeds and boundaries, a truth that spoke to the soul in ways that words alone could never fully capture. And as he spread his message, the world began to change. People who had been lost found their way. Those who had been broken were healed. Those who had been alone felt the embrace of the divine. Elias became a symbol of hope, a beacon of light in a world that had often seemed dark and divided. In the end, Elias understood that his mission was not just to spread God's word, but to embody it, to live it out in every moment, in every action, and in every word. And in doing so, he became a bridge, not just between the divine and earthly realms, but also between hearts, souls, and spirits that had once been severed by the shadows of misunderstanding and isolation. And so, Elias's story became a testament to the power of divine revelation and the eternal truth that no one is truly alone when they walk the path illuminated by God's love. His journey was not just his own, but a shared journey of all who dared to seek the light in the darkness to find belonging, not in fitting in, but in standing out as a chosen vessel of divine love. In the shadowy recesses of her room, with a flickering candlelight seemed to whisper ancient secrets, Serafina sat alone. In the silence, her heart an ocean of unvoiced sorrow. She had long felt that invisible weight of isolation, a burden that seemed heavier than the stones of the great cathedral she served. The soft hum of the night, the rustling of leaves outside her window, and the distant murmur of the town below were but faint echoes in the cacophony of her loneliness. She longed for the divine touch, for a hand to guide her through the labyrinth of her own spirit. What she did not understand was that she was not alone, not truly. The Creator had woven her into the tapestry of existence with an intention, a purpose as vast as the cosmos itself. Deep within her, a flicker of divine luminescence stirred, illuminating the path she had yet to walk. It was not about conformity or adhering to the expectations of others, but a profound, raw call to authenticity, an invitation to embrace the unique symphony that was her soul. Through the dense layers of her doubt, a vision began to unfold. In her mind's eye, she saw herself in a vast, endless desert. The sun beat mercilessly down upon her barren surroundings. Yet within that desolation, she sensed something stirring. It was not despair, but an awakening, a revelation that transcended the physical. "Rise, chosen one," a voice echoed within her spirit, soft yet thunderous in its resonance. "You are not here to fit into a hollow mold of what others expect, but to carve your own niche into the annals of existence. Your scars are not a condemnation, but a testament to a journey divinely orchestrated. The words cut through the dark corridors of her mind, and she found herself on her feet, as if propelled by an unseen force beyond human understanding. She was to embark upon a mission that was as much internal as it was external, a quest within the soul that would lead her to discover the myriad facets of her divine purpose. Seraphina's heart beat with an urgency that sent shivers down her spine as she visualized the myriad facets of her own spirit. She saw herself as a mosaic, each piece reflecting a different aspect of her being: the tender compassion, the fierce determination, the silent strength, and even the quiet moments of vulnerability that had long been buried beneath layers of self-imposed armor. Her mission was not to erase these characteristics, but to harmonize them, to allow them to dance together in perfect unity. As the days turned into weeks, Seraphina began to embrace this newfound path. She poured herself into acts of kindness, reaching out to those forgotten by the world. In a forgotten alley, she found an abandoned child, eyes wide with fear and uncertainty. She knelt down, her heart swelling with compassion, and promised to protect and nurture. It was in these moments that she realized she was not alone. The divine was present in every heart she touched. The townsfolk began to notice the changes in her demeanor, the quiet strength that had supplanted her previous isolation. She became a beacon of hope, dispelling the shadows of despair with her unwavering faith and gentle strength. Yet she was still acutely aware of the journey within her, the profound metamorphosis unfolding in the depths of her soul. One evening, as she stood before the altar, her hands rested upon the sacred relics, and she felt a surge of energy that seemed to flow from the very core of the earth. The air around her shimmered, and in that moment of divine communion, she understood the magnitude of her mission. She was meant to be a bridge between the mortal and the celestial, a vessel for the divine love that flowed through creation. "You are the chosen one," the divine voice spoke once more. "Not for the sake of fitting into a predefined mold, but to be the living testament to the boundless nature of God's love. You are to walk a path that others may not tread, to bring forth the light of divine truth to a world shrouded in darkness." Seraphina's heart swelled with the weight of this revelation, and with it came a profound sense of peace. She knew that her journey was far from over, that there would be trials and tribulations, moments of doubt and despair. But through it all, she would remain steadfast, guided by the divine truth that she was a unique creation destined to fulfill a sacred mission. Her heart, once heavy with loneliness, now beat with the rhythm of purpose, a beacon of light in the cosmos. Her mission was clear: to embody the essence of divine love and to carry it forth to the world, no longer seeking to fit into the shadows of conformity, but to shine with the brilliance of her divine purpose. And as she stood there, bathed in the ethereal glow of revelation, she knew that she was finally where she was meant to be, not in the solitude of feeling alone, but in the embrace of the infinite love that had always been there, waiting for her to fully awaken to her destiny. In the quiet town of Eldoria, where the whispers of ancient prayers lingered in every stone, and every breath of the wind walked a soul burdened by shadows of isolation. This soul, known to the few who knew its sorrow, as Alara had long wandered the narrow paths of her existence, feeling the weight of a divine calling she neither understood nor embraced. In the hidden corners of her heart, there lay a profound emptiness that echoed through her days and haunted her nights, a loneliness forged by the isolation of being chosen for a mission so monumental that it seemed beyond her grasp. Alara's life had always been an intricate dance with the expectations of others, their eyes upon her, as if she were a fragile artifact meant to fulfill some ancient prophecy. Yet beneath the surface of her composed exterior A tempest brewed a questioning of her purpose and a yearning for connection that seemed impossible to fulfill. It was in these quiet moments, when the world seemed to hold its breath, that she would kneel by the edge of the ancient grove, where the earth seemed to hum with a rhythm that resonated with her very soul. The grove had always been her sanctuary, a place where she could whisper her fears to the divine, though often felt more as if she was speaking to the silence. Within its mystical embrace, tall trees stood like silent sentinels, their leaves rustling in a language only they could decipher, as if sharing secrets with the wind. It was here that Alara had heard the shocking revelation that would forever change her understanding of her mission. One evening, as the sky blushed with hues of scarlet and gold, Alara found herself alone in the grove. The air was thick with an almost tangible expectation, as if the very world awaited something pivotal. She knelt on the moss-covered ground, closing her eyes and taking deep, steadying breaths. The world around her faded into an indistinguishable blur, and in that silence, something extraordinary happened. Alara began to see visions, fleeting glimpses of a future filled with both splendor and sorrow. She observed herself standing before a vast, tumultuous sea, the waves crashing against the shore with a force that mirrored the storms within her heart. It was a scene of both peril and potential, an embodiment of the trials that lay ahead. In the midst of these scenes, there were fragments of faces, strangers, friends, and those she had yet to meet, each offering pieces of the puzzle that was her destiny. One vision stood out more vividly than the others. She saw herself in a crowded hall, an assembly of countless souls, each bearing their unique light. And within this assembly, she felt an overwhelming sense of belonging that seemed to transcend her loneliness. Yet there was an unspoken tension, a reminder that her path was not just a journey of discovery, but one of immense responsibility. Through the visions, a profound truth began to unfold. Alara realized that her mission was not merely about fulfilling a divine mandate, but also about becoming a vessel for the transformation of others. She was to be a beacon of hope, her struggles and triumphs illuminating the path for those who wandered in darkness. This revelation was both a burden and a blessing. It stripped away the facade of isolation and revealed the interconnectedness of her journey with the lives of others. In that sacred grove, Alara understood that her essence was interlaced with the fabric of the world. She was to be the bridge between the seen and unseen, the silent and spoken, the known and the unknown. Her heart swelled with the enormity of her calling, and though fear threatened to suffocate her, she felt a newfound resolve. Alara rose from the ground, her spirit infused with a radiant clarity. She understood now that the loneliness she had feared was merely a part of her journey, a necessary precursor to the profound impact she was destined to make. She would no longer seek to fit into the mold of what others expected of her. Instead, she would embrace the uniqueness of her path and the divine purpose that set her apart. As she stepped out of the grove, the world appeared anew, a canvas waiting for the brushstrokes of her mission. The path ahead was fraught with challenges, yet she moved forward with a heart open to the trials and triumphs that awaited her. Alara understood that her journey was about more than herself. It was about reaching out to every soul, even those who felt alone, and showing them that they were never truly isolated in the grand tapestry of existence. And so with each step, Alara forged ahead, her spirit alight with the fire of her revelation, ready to illuminate the road for others to become the bridge between the divine and the souls lost in the vast expanse of life's journey. In that moment, she found not just her purpose, but a profound connection to the essence of all beings, a bond that transcended the boundaries of the known world and reached into the infinite cosmos. Her journey was only beginning, and though the path stretched endlessly ahead, Ilara walked with a heart full of grace and an unshakable belief in the divine thread that wove her existence with that of the universe. She was the chosen one, and through her, a new chapter of revelation and transformation would unfold, one that would echo through the ages, forever altering the destiny of those who dared to believe. In the twilight hours, as the sun bowed to the night sky, the chosen one found solace beneath the ancient olive tree. Its gnarled branches, twisted like the wisdom of centuries, offered a canopy of solace against the encroaching darkness. The chosen one's heart, though heavy with the burden of an unseen weight, found an inexplicable stillness here, where the earth whispered secrets of ages long past. It was beneath this venerable tree that the chosen one had come to seek respite from the relentless clamoring of the world. The whispers of skepticism and the incessant demands of those who never quite understood his mission gnawed at the edges of his spirit. He had spent too long attempting to fit into the mold that society had forced upon him, trying to align his unique purpose with the expectations of a world that seemed increasingly oblivious to his calling. It was here, under the steadfast gaze of the ancient olive, that he began to hear a different tune, a divine melody that spoke not of conformity but of authenticity and revelation. The air imbued with the scent of earth and old wood carried the echoes of ethereal whispers. The chosen one closed his weary eyes, allowing the gentle rustling of leaves to cradle his thoughts into a serene lull. It was then that he felt it a stirring deep within, a sacred tremor that reverberated through his core. This was no mere coincidence or fleeting reverie. It was the gentle touch of the divine, the awakening of a truth long dormant. Why do you stray from the path that is laid out before you? The celestial voice whispered a question that felt as ancient as the olive tree itself. Why do you seek approval in a world that cannot comprehend your mission? The chosen one's breath, hitched and a tear thin as a river's edge, but rich with the depth of his anguish, traced a path down his cheek. I tried. Lord, he admitted, his voice barely more than a breath. I tried to fit in, to align myself with the expectations, the traditions. But I am lost. My mission feels like a solitary echo in a world of noise. In response, the olive tree seemed to shimmer with a subtle luminescence, as if it were made of stardust caught in a timeless embrace. The chosen one felt an unexplainable warmth envelop his spirit, a soothing balm that began to heal the rifts within his soul. My child, the celestial voice resonated with a gentle insistence. Your mission is not meant to conform to the world's dictates, but to stand as a beacon in the midst of its blindness. Each word was a salve, a healing balm that began to mend the cracks within him. The chosen one opened his eyes, and the world seemed to shift ever so slightly, the colors more vibrant, the air more alive. He felt an overwhelming sense of clarity, a revelation that transcended mere understanding. It was a divine illumination, a moment where the boundaries of the soul expanded to embrace the infinite. Your purpose is not to fit in, but to be true to yourself. The voice continued its cadence, imbued with the wisdom of millennia. To shine your light in a world that is often blind to its own shadows. Your mission is to awaken those who slumber, to guide those who wander lost in the labyrinth of their own making. The chosen one's heart swelled with an indescribable joy, a joy that felt like the first bloom after a long winter. In that moment, beneath the ancient olive tree, he understood that his mission was his own, unique and unrepeatable. It was not a task to be performed for approval, but a journey to be lived out in authenticity and devotion. Show me how to walk this path. He pleaded, his voice now steady and filled with resolve. Guide me in the fulfillment of my mission. And the air around him seemed to hum with divine approval. The olive tree, with its timeless wisdom, seemed to nod in silent consent. The chosen one felt a surge of new strength, a renewed purpose that filled him with a profound sense of belonging. He was no longer just a solitary figure isolated by the world's demands. He was the chosen instrument of a divine purpose, tasked with a mission that resonated with the very essence of his being. As the first rays of dawn began to break, casting the world in a soft golden light, the chosen one rose from beneath the ancient oak. His heart was light, his spirit rejuvenated. He knew that the path ahead would be challenging, fraught with obstacles and tests, but he was no longer alone in his mission. He had found his true self, and in that discovery, he had uncovered his true mission. The world that lay before him was not one to be conformed to, but one to be transformed. And with every step he took, the chosen one walked not just as an individual, but as a harbinger of change, an embodiment of the divine revelation that had set his spirit free. His journey had only just begun, but he now moved with the grace and confidence of one who knew that he was on the path ordained by the very cosmos. Thus he ventured forth a solitary figure, no longer but a shining light in the midst of an often forgetful world, driven by a mission that was as eternal as the spirit that breathed life into him. The chosen one, no longer seeking to fit in, had finally found the truest form of belonging to his own divine purpose, a purpose that would resonate through the annals of time. In the quiet corridors of a universe where celestial whispers often danced on the wind, the chosen one wandered through the labyrinthine alleys of his own soul, perpetually ensnared in a web of self-doubt and the mirage of acceptance. From the dawn of his eternal journey, a sacred script had been inscribed upon the celestial parchment of his destiny, a mission both profound and enigmatic. It was a path that led not to a place, but to a truth that transcended the material world. This truth, like a hidden gem, shimmering in the abyss of the cosmos, beckoned him onward, though it often seemed as distant as the first stars that flickered into existence. Through the epochs of his existence, the chosen one traversed realms where the very fabric of reality trembled under the weight of his presence. There were times when he felt like a solitary wanderer, an orphan in a universe that had forsaken him. The whispers of the ancients spoke of a calling that resonated with every fiber of his being, a calling that transcended the mire of human comprehension. It was the echo of a divine instruction, a command etched by the very hands that cradled the stars. In the shadowed corners of his heart, the chosen one grappled with the burden of solitude. He often pondered the irony that his mission was both a source of immense joy and a profound sorrow. The mission demanded a profound isolation, a retreat from the comforting embrace of the familiar. The divine plan had chosen him, had plucked him from the sea of potentialities, and set him upon a course that defied the crowd's approval. This was a mission born from the cosmos's deepest recesses, where every step was a step away from the transient approval of the many, and closer to the silent approval of the one who saw all. As days, months, and years of celestial time flowed like the gentle current of a holy river, the chosen one found himself in the heart of an ancient sacred forest where the trees stood as massive sentinels, their gnarled branches weaving a canopy that caught the first whispers of the divine. Here, under the eternal gaze of the all-seeing presence, he began to understand that his loneliness was not a curse, but a conduit. It was through this solitude that he could truly hear the unseen symphony of the universe, the subtle murmurs of the divine that spoke in secret language only he could decipher. In these silent moments, the chosen one sought communion not with the throngs of his kind, but with the very essence of existence itself. He knelt before the towering oaks, the ancient guardians of wisdom, and poured out his heart. He pleaded for understanding, for the divine clarity that could illuminate the shadows within. The answer came not in grand revelations, but in the gentle rustling of leaves, in the whisper of the wind through the sacred grove. It was here that the chosen one encountered a revelation that would alter the course of his mission forever. The universe unfolded before him in ethereal visions, each thread of light revealing a fragment of his divine purpose. The images swirled like the pages of an ancient tome, each page turning under the hand of destiny. He saw the stars aligning in celestial patterns, the birth of new worlds, the rise and fall of civilizations, all orchestrated by a hand that was not his own. Yet within this vast tapestry, his role was indelibly etched. The chosen one understood that his mission was not merely to achieve something grandiose, but to be a vessel, a humble instrument of the divine will. It was to carry the weight of the cosmos in a way that transcended glory or recognition. To walk a path not for the sake of admiration, but for the silent, eternal purpose that had been bestowed upon him. It was a path that required relinquishing the desire to fit into the mold of societal approval, to embrace the mantle of solitude, and to let the divine purpose illuminate his every step. Within the heart of this sacred forest, the chosen one found his true home. He stood before the ancient oak, the one that seemed to gaze directly into the core of his soul. It was here that an understanding of the divine essence washed over him like a cleansing tide. He was chosen not because he was perfect, but because he was willing to journey through the uncharted territories of his heart, through the valleys of loneliness, and into the mountains of self-discovery. He was chosen to embody the quiet strength that comes from knowing one's true purpose, a strength that does not seek applause, but serves in silent devotion. With each breath, drawn from the pure, sacred air of the forest, the chosen one's spirit swelled with an unyielding resolve. He understood that the true fulfillment of his mission was not in the recognition of others, but in the silent fulfillment of his divine calling. It was a calling that required the courage to stand alone, the wisdom to see beyond the visible, and the grace to remain serene amidst the storm of uncertainty. As the chosen one walked forward, the path illuminated by the divine light that now shone within him, he carried with him the profound truth that his solitude was not a burden, but a blessed gift. It was a solitude that allowed him to hear the divine whispers, to see the stars in a way that others could not, and to move through the cosmos with a heart full of understanding and a mind steeped in the profound knowledge that he was indeed the chosen one, the chosen vessel of a divine purpose that was ever so much greater than the fleeting applause of the masses. And so the chosen one journeyed onwards through time and space, each step a testament to the sacred trust bestowed upon him. He carried within him the eternal truth that he was not alone, for he walked with the wisdom of ages and the silent blessing of a divine purpose that would transcend the temporal world forever, the chosen one. A figure drenched in an ethereal light wandered through the ancient whispering forest, his footsteps as silent as the breath of an unseen wind. The canopy overhead seemed to hum with the secrets of the cosmos, each leaf and twig a testament to the divine handiwork, an intricate and divine design that spoke of a purpose stretching far beyond mortal comprehension. This was no ordinary forest, but a sacred grove, a hallowed sanctuary where the veil between the mortal realm and the celestial was thinnest, allowing flickers of divine insight to breach the fabric of everyday existence. As the Chosen One walked, the air seemed to shimmer, charged with an energy that quickened his heartbeat. Each step resonated with a profound sense of destiny. His mission was not a quest for treasure or knowledge, but a journey of revelation, a path unfurled by the divine hand that had marked him from the cradle of his being. His heart bore the weight of a calling imbued with both glory and grief, for he was chosen to be a beacon, a harbinger of a truth that would either save or condemn. In the depths of the forest, he encountered a sacred spring, its waters reflecting the heavens above, and the earth below, a perfect mirror to the soul's deep yearnings and hidden fears. Kneeling beside it, he drew his hands into the cool, crystalline water, feeling the life force course through him, awakening dormant eddies of spirit and purpose within. The water whispered secrets, and in that moment, he understood his true mission was not just to convey the divine revelation, but to embody it in every fiber of his being, to become a living testament to the love and grace that transcends the mortal coil. As twilight descended, and the forest was bathed in the spectral glow of the setting sun, the Chosen One felt a surge of power and presence. He rose his form, illuminated by an inner radiance that seemed to pulse with celestial rhythm. An ethereal figure emerged before him, a vision of pure light and grace, its presence both terrifying and comforting. This was an emissary of the divine, come to guide and to challenge him, to remind him of the burden he carried. "You are the Chosen One," the figure intoned its voice, echoing with the timbre of the universe itself. "The one who will bear the message of redemption and reconciliation. Yet your path is fraught with trials that will test your spirit, your resolve, and your very essence. To succeed, you must first understand that the world you inhabit is governed not by the norms and conventions of men, but by the will of the heavens. You are to live a life unshackled from the chains of societal expectation. Do not strive to fit into the mold that others forge for you. Your uniqueness is your greatest strength, your true essence the key to unlocking the hearts of men." In that sacred moment, the Chosen One felt an overwhelming flood of clarity. His feelings of isolation and solitude were no longer burdens, but badges of honor, for they signified that he was attuned to a higher calling, one that would leave an indelible mark on the world. He realized now that his mission was not just to deliver a message, but to redefine what it meant to be a messenger in a world obsessed with conformity. His task was to inspire others to embrace their own uniqueness, to recognize that within the vast expanse of human experience, every soul has a purpose that defies conventional understanding. He closed his eyes, and in a trance of divine communion, he felt the weight of his mission pressing upon him with both burden and blessing. It was an invitation to ascend, to rise above the petty squabbles and superficialities that bound the hearts of men, to remind them that true fulfillment and spiritual enlightenment lie not in the pursuit of fleeting pleasures or the acceptance of societal norms, but in the courageous embrace of one's true self and the unwavering dedication to the divine mission bestowed upon them. As dawn broke, the Chosen One emerged from the ancient forest, a figure transfigured his soul aflame with divine purpose. The world around him was a canvas, and he its master artist. He would paint a new path, one paved not with the stones of conformity, but with the vibrant colors of authenticity and grace. And as he stepped forth, the very air seemed to sing with the promise of transformation, for the Chosen One had indeed found his true calling to be a radiant beacon of divine truth, illuminating the path to salvation for all who would dare to follow. In the dim silence of the cave, where shadows danced in the flickering light of the ancient candles, the chosen one knelt before the sacred altar. The air was thick with the scent of old incense, heavy and sweet, wrapping around her like a comforting cloak. Yet it also weighed down her spirit with the burden of expectations. This was no ordinary cave. This was the sanctum sanctorum, the hidden chamber where secrets older than time whispered their truths through the eternal echoes of the ages. Her heart pounded rhythmically, a drumbeat of trepidation and anticipation resonating within the cavern. There, amidst the relics of forgotten epics, the chosen one was not alone. She was surrounded by ancient tomes, the parchment yellowed with age, their words curling like seraph's wings in the eternal dance of scripture. Her eyes wide with an understanding that transcended mortal comprehension, traced the mystical runes that spiraled in labyrinthic complexity across the stone walls. The walls seemed to breathe with her, inhaling and exhaling the collective sigh of ages past and the promise of the future. As she absorbed each cryptic verse, she felt the weight of eons upon her. The flickering candlelight cast divine luminescence upon an ornate mirror, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly sheen. In its depths, she saw not just her reflection, but an intricate tapestry of her life's journey. The road paved with trials laden with sorrow and joy, each footfall leaving an imprint in the sands of time. This was the revelation, the moment when the veil between the seen and unseen would lift to reveal the truth that had been concealed. The chosen one could feel the presence of the divine, an ever-watchful guardian to her soul, guiding and illuminating her path. She could hear in the recesses of her mind the soft, ethereal whispers of angelic choirs singing in tongues, harmonizing with the distant rumble of the cosmos. She was to become the vessel through which the eternal light would traverse the shadowed realms of humanity to bring forth the revelation that had been withheld for centuries, concealed in the folds of divine mystery. Yet the path before her was fraught with peril. The chosen one had spent years in solitude wrestling with the internal dissonance that had made her feel like an alien in her own world. "Why do I feel so alone?" she had often whispered into the night, only to receive no answer. Now she understood that this very solitude was not a curse, but a crucible, a necessary trial that had forged her resilience and deepened her spiritual insight. The silence had not been empty, but a void screaming to be filled, a space where the divine would plant the seeds of enlightenment. The revelation was not just for her. It was for all who had wandered in the wilderness of their own souls, searching for meaning, seeking connection, longing for the touch of the divine. This mission was her calling, her destiny, one that had been etched into her very being since the dawn of creation. Yet she was still but one soul among many, and in this recognition lay the key to her liberation. The realization dawned upon her like a glorious sunrise piercing through the veil of night. She need not fit into the confines of others' expectations or societal molds. Her uniqueness was her greatest strength, for she was designed to illuminate a path that others might follow. The chosen one rose from her knees, an ethereal glow now encapsulating her form, a manifestation of the revelation that had just unfolded within her. The time had come to embark on her sacred journey, to weave her thread into the grand tapestry of the divine narrative. She would no longer seek acceptance from a world that did not understand. Instead, she would stand as a beacon, a lighthouse piercing the fog of ignorance and despair, guiding others to the shore of enlightenment. Her heart, once heavy with the burden of alienation now swelled with purpose and grace. As she stepped out of the cave, she was no longer just an individual, but a luminary in the divine firmament. The world awaited her, unaware of the storm that was about to be calmed by her presence. She was prepared to face it head on, armed with the revelation that no matter how solitary the path had seemed, she was never alone. She was always accompanied by the divine, guiding, protecting, and illuminating her way. As she stood beneath the sprawling branches of an ancient tree, its leaves whispering secrets of the universe, the chosen one felt the first stirrings of her mission's unfolding. For her journey was not about seeking acceptance or validation from the world around her. It was about embracing her divine mission and with unyielding faith, spreading the light of truth to those who were lost in the shadows of their own making. In every step she took, in every word she spoke, in every act of kindness she performed, the chosen one would be a testament to the power of divine revelation. She would be the voice that would remind the world of the profound truth that every soul, no matter how alone they feel, is eternally connected to the cosmos, that they are a vital thread in the divine fabric, indispensable and irreplaceable. And thus, with the dawn breaking over the horizon, the chosen one embarked on her divine mission, not as a solitary wanderer, but as a herald of the eternal truth that would bring forth a new dawn of spiritual awakening and understanding. The night was cloaked in a heavy shroud of celestial ambiguity, an ancient mystery woven into the fibers of time itself, as if the universe itself had paused to allow the chosen one to reflect upon the enormity of her calling. The air was thick with the silent whispers of the cosmos, an ethereal hum that seemed to vibrate through the very core of her being, pulling her deeper into the sacred silence that surrounded her. She knelt upon the cool, dewy grass of the ancient forest, the towering trees standing like silent sentinels, their leaves rustling in a language lost to time, but not to her soul. For so long, she had wandered through the world, feeling as though she were a solitary star in an endless, indifferent universe. The laughter and joy of others echoed hollowly in her ears, a distant sound that seemed to mock her isolation. She had tried to fit into the fabric of society, to merge with the throngs of humanity, but something had always held her back, a gentle yet unyielding force that whispered of a destiny far greater than the mundane lives of those around her. In those quiet moments, under the canopy of ancient trees, she had felt the presence of something divine, a sacred whisper that seemed to penetrate the veil of her isolation. It called to her not to seek the approval of others, but to embrace her unique, indelible purpose. In the stillness, she had finally come to understand the profound truth that those who would embrace her mission would come to her and not the other way around. As the stars twinkled above, like scattered diamonds on a velvet sky, their light filtering through the branches, she closed her eyes and began to speak her heart's heartfelt prayer, a communion with the divine that transcended time and space. Great and infinite one. She began her voice a soft murmur that seemed to merge with the night. I stand before you, an unworthy vessel, seeking to understand the calling you have bestowed upon me. I have often felt like a solitary voice in a vast, indifferent world, but tonight, under your celestial protection, I recognize the sacred truth within me. She paused, feeling the weight of her mission settling deeper within her. I have long tried to fit into the mold of what others deem acceptable, but I see now that my true calling is not about conformity, but about becoming the beacon of your light in this world. You have chosen me for a purpose, that goes beyond the confines of human understanding. I am to be a testament to your infinite love and an instrument for your divine will. Her hands moved in quiet, reverent gestures, tracing the outline of the world's ancient mysteries, the sacred symbols that had been etched into her consciousness through countless ages. You have revealed to me the profound truth that I must not chase the approval of others, but instead must follow your divine guidance. I am the chosen one, anointed with a mission that transcends earthly bounds. My heart aches for connection, yet I know that those who are meant to join me in this sacred endeavor will find their way to me when the time is right. She felt a warmth enveloping her, the gentle embrace of the divine, and she knew that her spirit was being fortified for the trials yet to come. Though the path ahead was fraught with uncertainty and shadow, she was no longer just a solitary star, but a radiant beacon, poised to shine forth with the brilliance of the divine truth. I am your chosen one. She spoke with newfound conviction, her voice carrying the weight of her soul. I will stand firm in the face of adversity, for I am not alone. You are with me, guiding me, sustaining me. Those who seek to understand the depths of your love will come to me drawn by the divine magnetism of my purpose. I am a vessel for your grace, a channel for your mercy. Tears welled in her eyes as she surrendered to the overwhelming emotions that swept through her. The weight of her calling was both a burden and a blessing, a testament to the profound love that had been bestowed upon her. I accept your divine revelation. With open arms she breathed, her voice trembling with emotion. I will embrace my mission with unwavering faith. I will be the light that guides the lost, the voice that speaks your truth, and the heart that beats for your love. As the night deepened, she felt the sacred seal of destiny being placed upon her, a luminous imprint that would guide her through the labyrinth of her journey. She knew that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges, with moments of doubt, and with the trials that only the truly chosen endure. Yet she would not falter, for she had come to understand that true belonging is not found in the acceptance of others, but in the fulfillment of one's divine purpose. She was no longer just a solitary soul in a vast universe, but a chosen instrument of the infinite, a beacon of divine light in an otherwise dark world. And as dawn broke, casting a golden glow across the ancient forest, she rose to her feet, her spirit infused with newfound strength and resolve. She knew that the journey would be long, but her heart was now aligned with the celestial rhythm of her destiny. She was the chosen one, and she would follow the divine call with unwavering faith, illuminating the path for those who would come to know the sacred truth within her. Deep within the cavernous chambers of the ancient church, where the flickering candles cast spectral shadows that danced across the ornate walls, there lived an individual shrouded in the enigma of solitude. This chosen one, nestled among the sacred relics and echoing chants of the past, carried within their soul a burgeoning fire, a flame kindled by the divine. The flickering candle's light trembled as if whispering secrets from ages past, and the chosen one could feel the very essence of their calling pulse beneath the surface of their being. It was not a call born of conformity or the desire to fit neatly into a predefined mold, but a call that defied all societal expectations, demanding unique authenticity and unwavering devotion. The chosen one found solace and strength in the most unexpected places, silent corners of the world's marketplaces, where the scent of spices and the clamor of haggling voices melded into a symphony of human life. Yet in those moments, they often felt the heavy weight of isolation, an invisible cloak that marked them as an outsider, a wanderer in a world where their spirit felt perpetually out of place. The chosen one's journey was fraught with internal struggles, for they were compelled to reconcile the divine mandate bestowed upon them with the overwhelming urge to adapt and integrate. The chosen one often wandered through the labyrinthine streets of ancient cities, their footsteps echoing on cobblestones as if the very earth acknowledged the importance of their quest. Each turn, each narrow alley held a story of perseverance and faith, relics of humanity's eternal struggle between individuality and community. Here, the chosen one felt the pull of the divine more acutely, a whispering voice urging them to embrace their destiny without the burden of societal acceptance. This chosen one's mission, revealed in divine whispers and illuminated dreams, was one of profound significance. They were destined to be a beacon of hope, a harbinger of change in a world teetering on the brink of spiritual desolation. Their task was not merely to convey divine messages, but to inspire a transformation, a rekindling of the sacred flame within the hearts of men. To achieve this, the chosen one had to transcend the superficial trappings of conformity and emerge as a true vessel of divine truth. The chosen one's path was fraught with trials that tested their very essence. In moments of deep introspection, they would find themselves on the precipice of despair, questioning the very purpose of their mission. Would they ever find the acceptance they so deeply craved? Was it selfish to pursue a calling that seemed to alienate them from the world they longed to belong to? These questions reverberated within their soul, each one a thunderclap that shook the foundations of their spirit. Yet each time, the whispers of the divine grew louder, more insistent, guiding them back to the path of their mission. On moonlit nights, the chosen one often retreated to a solitary hilltop where the vast expanse of the starlit sky stretched infinitely above them. Here they found a sanctuary of sorts, a place where the weight of the world seemed to lift, and the divine presence enveloped them in a cocoon of peace. In these sacred moments, the chosen one would commune with the cosmos, seeking clarity and strength. They would gaze at the constellations, each star a reminder of the divine tapestry woven through the fabric of existence, and feel an unbreakable bond with the divine source. This chosen one's journey was one of profound transformation. They learned to embrace their individuality and understand that true acceptance comes not from conforming to the world's standards, but from embodying the divine